So I broke up with my boyfriend of 12 years because he wouldn't propose to me, and now he wants to get back together, telling me that now he's ready to get married, and I don't know if I should get back together with him. We were in 9th grade when he asked me to be his girlfriend, and we never broke up. We are very privileged because as soon as we got out of college, we both had a job at his father's company, and we immediately started living together at a family house that he inherited. So by the time we were 22, I mean, we had our lives pretty much figured out. We both made like $144,000 a year, like combined. So at 22, that's when he started talking about marriage. He didn't ask me to marry him, or he didn't say that he was going to propose, but he just started talking about like my ring size, what type of wedding I wanted, if I preferred silver or gold jewelry, you know, those things. So 22 went by, no engagement. Okay, no big deal. Then comes 23, and again, no engagement. And it's starting to get on my nerves because I'm like, okay, he's been having these conversations and nothing's happening. But I'm thinking like it's any day now. And when I turn 24, I'm like, okay, this is gotta be the year where he actually proposes. Because it's like 2 years of the same conversation. It's getting tiring. And I start asking him like, what are you waiting for exactly? He would always say that he's just waiting for the right moment, for like that click that makes him want to propose. It took me until I was 25 to start putting the pieces together and understanding that every time he would have conversations about marriage, it was after we had a fight or after things were complicated, and it was always so that I would feel better about something bad that he had done. So it was very manipulative. One thing that girls do that I definitely was guilty of was giving guys timelines that they have no idea about. Like, I didn't tell anything. Basically, by the time I turned 26 this year, I told myself like, this guy has until he turns 27 to propose to me. After that, I knew I was walking away and there was no turning back. Like, I knew that. I even got my own space ahead of time, and all in all, let's just say he turned 27 and the separation was peaceful. He took it very well. Kind of hurt, not gonna lie. Like, he didn't protest that much at all. It kind of felt like he was waiting for that. So this whole thing happened 2 months ago, and last week he showed up at my door, and I hadn't told him where I was living, where I was moving to, and I had forgotten that we never stopped sharing locations. I completely froze because I was like, how does he know? And then he told me, and I wasn't really creeped out by it. I was really nervous. I didn't really know what to say. I just invite him into my place and like show him around. And after some catching up, we're sitting down at my couch and he just pulls out this box. He wasn't on his knees. He wasn't crying. He wasn't anything. We were just sitting down next to each other on the couch, and he just pulls out the box as if it was just the most amazing thing ever. But it felt like it was, here you go, like after all this time, here you go, are you happy with this? It felt really forced, and I voiced this to him. I told him like, it feels like you're doing this just to get back together with me. He said I was overthinking, that this is really what he wants to do, and that he's not being forced to do it at all. He just realized that he really wants to be with me and that he can't live without me, and that these 2 months made him realize that. He also says that he never realized marriage was that important to me, which, I mean, come on. I'm still very in love with him. He's been my only boyfriend ever, and I'm thinking like I want to get back together with him, but at the same time, I'm not sure because I'm afraid that he will resent me in the future. In 10 years, he's super frustrated that he married someone he didn't want to. Do I throw 13 years down the drain, or do I give him a chance?
I'm convinced that my fiance is having an affair with his work wife, but let me know what you think. My fiance started his new job about 8 months ago, and since the beginning, he's constantly talked about one of his coworkers. Let's call them Sam. Apparently, him and Sam sit directly next to each other, and he would constantly talk about how lucky he is to sit next to somebody who he gets along with so well. And being so real, I assumed Sam was a guy. I mean, my fiance doesn't have any girlfriends and is very much just like a guy's guy. So I assumed that the person that he was getting along with so well at work was a guy. I also assumed if he was getting really close to a female coworker, he would tell me that. So it had never bothered me when I noticed that my fiance and Sam were constantly texting, or when my fiance would go out on Friday nights to go get a drink with Sam, because I thought he was a man. The one time I asked to see a picture of Sam, my fiance was like, yeah, I actually don't have one, and Sam doesn't have any social media, so sorry. And then anytime I'd suggested that the three of us hang out because I wanted to meet my fiance's work best friend, I would always get blown off. My fiance would always give some kind of reason why we couldn't all hang out. About a month ago, my fiance came home and was so excited, telling me that his company was hosting this giant event. And I was excited too. It seemed so cool. So I asked him, I was like, okay, when is it? I'll clear my schedule. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, but we don't get +1s. It's only 4 people in the company, which I thought was a little weird because it seemed like one of those events that you're allowed to bring your significant other to or your family to. I was like, okay. But again, I believed him because why wouldn't I believe him? And the night of the event, my fiance gets home and he's being so weird. He's so cold. I'm trying to ask him how the event was and he just won't answer questions. He's like, I'm tired, I'm going to bed. Just doesn't want anything to do with me and is avoiding me at all costs. But in the morning, he apologizes. He tells me it was just a really long night. And again, I just chalk it up to him being tired and I don't think much of it until last week when I went to the nail salon. So while I'm at the nail salon, I sit down next to this random woman that looks about my age and we just start small talking. Eventually I ask her what she does for a living and she tells me that she actually works at the same company that my fiance works at. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my fiance works there. Do you know this man? I tell her his name. And she looks really taken aback when I say his name. She's like, wait, I didn't know that he had a fiance. I was like, yeah, I mean, he does, it's me. And then she goes, wait, why weren't you at the recent office event? Like, it was so fun. That's everyone's significant other's favorite event of the year. I look at her and I'm trying to keep a straight face, but I feel absolutely sick because I just realized my fiance lied to me. There are +1s that are allowed. He just didn't want me to go for some reason. And I'm not about to expose my fiance to his coworkers, so I just say, I was actually really busy with work that day, so I couldn't make it. Then the two of us are silent for about 10 minutes before she finally speaks up again. And she's like, so, have you met Sam? Has your fiance introduced you to Sam? I was like, oh, no, but I hear about him all the time. Apparently they're really close. And she looks at me with the most blank expression on her face. And she goes, Sam's a girl, right? And I feel like the biggest idiot in the world. And then she says, yeah, well, when your fiance and Sam left the event together, I guess I would have assumed now that they were going to meet up with you because it was pretty late. Yet no, they didn't meet up with me. I asked her what time did my fiance leave. She told me, and he did not get back to our house until 2.5 hours after he left that event. So finally, I just straight up asked this woman, I'm like, listen, is my fiance cheating on me with Sam? Do you know this? Like, have you seen anything? And she gets really quiet and she's like, I mean, no, I haven't necessarily seen anything, but it's pretty assumed that they are together. Everyone has thought they've been dating for months. That's just what everybody's been saying. No one had any idea that he had a fiance. So I go home, I'm frantic, and I see my fiance sitting on the couch, and I decide not to approach him with this information. I decide to test him a little bit. So I sit down next to him on the couch, and I'm like, hey babe, what's up? And we're small talking for a little bit. Finally, I go, oh, how's Sam? What's he up to this weekend? Because again, my fiance has never specifically told me that Sam wasn't a girl. And he responds, oh yeah, Sam's good. I don't know, I think that Sam's just hanging out with some of their friends this weekend. Didn't correct me. I just get up off the couch, go to the bedroom, and then I decide that I'm gonna do some internet sleuthing and I'm gonna find out who Sam is. I never felt the need to look them up before because why would I? I trusted him. And let me tell you, it was very easy to find all of her social media, which she did have. She has a ton of social media. And, my fiance said that she had none. First of all, she's gorgeous, like one of the prettiest people I've ever seen in my life. And second, my fiance, all over her social media, all over it. They look like a full-blown couple. Right then and there, I packed a bag and walked out the front door. My fiance's chasing behind me like, wait, where are you going? What's going on? And I wouldn't even respond to him. I just got right in my car and drove to my friend's house. It's been about 4 days now, and he's been constantly texting and calling me, asking me what's wrong, saying that he needs clarity for why I just left, but I don't want to talk to him about it. What's gonna make him tell me the truth now? But then there's this little voice in the back of my head that's saying, what if you got it wrong? What if this is all a big misunderstanding and he's not even doing anything wrong? Which is crazy because he's been lying to me for months. Obviously something's up. But I don't know what to do and I don't know how to address the situation. So let me know what you would do.
Imagine being a prince, a literal royal, and ending up accused of sleeping with a teenager trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein. And no, this isn't a Netflix plot, not yet anyway. This is the real-life story of Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, once known as the Queen's favourite son, went from royal privilege to public disgrace. His name is now tied to 3 of the most notorious names of our time: Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Harvey Weinstein. I've made some notes on what I know about this, so I'm just going to read them out to you. Back in the early 2000s, Andrew became close friends with Epstein, a billionaire financier later convicted of schmecks crimes involving minors, and his partner Ghislaine Maxwell, a British socialite from elite circles. They moved in the same world of private jets, island getaways, and exclusive parties. But beneath the glamour, something darker was happening. One of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Giuffre, said she was trafficked by Epstein and Maxwell and forced to have schmecks with Andrew when she was just 17 years old. A photo of Andrew with his arm around her waist was taken inside Maxwell's London home, and it later became one of the most infamous images of our decade. Andrew has always denied the allegations, claiming he never even met the woman, and that the photo was probably doctored. In my opinion, this is such a common thing for people in power to look at us as if we really are the little people, the stupid, the gullible people, that they can just spin us any lie and we'll believe it. I don't for a second believe that that picture was fake. In 2019, Andrew tried to clear his name in what became a car crash interview on BBC's Newsnight. If you don't remember that, let me explain. When asked why he stayed friends with Epstein even after his conviction, he said, and I quote, "It was a convenient place to stay." He even claimed that he couldn't have been sweating during one of the alleged encounter because of a medical condition from the Falklands War. Now, with that one, he is denying a statement made by a minor who was allegedly forced to do things by him that she didn't want to do. And in her statement, she spoke about how he was profusely sweating. So he's denying that, saying he couldn't sweat at all because of a medical condition, and therefore it wasn't him. He didn't do any of it. The public didn't buy it, because we're not fucking stupid. And within days, he was forced to step back from his royal duties. Giuffre filed a civil lawsuit in the US accusing Andrew of SA. In early 2022, just weeks before the case was set to go to trial, the prince quietly settled. He paid Giuffre an undisclosed sum, which was reported to be in the millions, and I've actually heard rumours that it was around 16 mil. But even though the settlement didn't include an admission of guilt, it spoke volumes to the public. Because if you're innocent, you're going to fight for your innocence. You're going to fight for your name. You're not just going to pay your way out. Throwing money at a situation is the action of a guilty man. And then we get to Epstein's death. Now, he died in his prison cell and he apparently unalived himself. The whole thing was surrounded by unanswered questions and fueled by conspiracy theories. And if I'm completely honest with you, I believe the theories. I either believe that he didn't go the way we were told he went, or that he didn't go at all, that he's still alive. But that's just my opinion. Maxwell was later convicted for schmecks trafficking, and names like Weinstein kept surfacing the same social circles. These were just men shielded by wealth, power, and connections. And today, Andrew lives mostly out of the spotlight. His royal titles have been stripped, his reputation shattered, and some say the monarchy will never recover from the stain of the Epstein scandal. Others whisper there's still more the palace doesn't want the world to know. There's always going to be more. And here's the latest. Andrew is being moved out of the grand 30-room mansion at Royal Lodge in Windsor, a residence paid for via royal funding and us, the taxpayer. He's being sent to live on the private Sandringham estate in Norfolk, funded privately by his brother, King Charles. Meanwhile, his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, who also lived at the Royal Lodge in Windsor, she has now been made homeless, or as the royals have put it, she's left to make her own accommodation arrangements. And so whilst Andrew may not have room to take his ex-wife with him, he certainly is taking some of his most prized possessions, including 72 bears that he has collected. Let's talk about them. Now, I'm going to have to say allegedly for all of this because I don't want to come between a man and his weird obsession with his stuffed bears. That is too crazy for me. But allegedly, former royal staff say the bears are very precisely arranged each day. Every bear has a set place on Andrew's bed, with the big ones at the back and the small ones at the front. And then at bedtime, the bears would be taken off of the bed and neatly arranged around the room, with two of his favourite bears sat on thrones either side of his bed. And if the bears weren't arranged correctly, the staff would claim that Andrew would become verbally abusive, screaming and shouting at them, because he wasn't happy with the arrangement of his stuffed toys. Anyway, he's probably packing his bear collection up right now, and I don't really know where else to go with that because it's probably the strangest note I've ever left a story on. But if you would like a deeper dive, and if you would like maybe even a timeline of what this guy's been up to, let me know.
I don't blame girls who don't want to date guys who have girl best friends, because I was a girl best friend and I was like completely in love with my guy best friend. Let's talk about it. It's actually funny because I really didn't realize how bad I had it for him, because like he would date other people, I would date other people, he would like hook up with a bunch of people, and I knew like way too many things about his like intimate and personal life. Sounds so pick me, but we had 2 other guy friends in our group, and I truly thought I was like one of the guys. We would like hang out all the time, and like to be honest, I really was when it came to those other 2, but for him we were just a lot closer than I was with the other 2 guys. Everyone knew that we were like the closest, but I just chalked up to like, that's my best guy friend. And like I said, I had this boyfriend for a long time, like this long time boyfriend, and when we broke up, like I really wasn't even that upset over it, and that should have been like the biggest red flag. Hello. Brings me to this girl he was dating, Monica, who hated my guts. And you know what, to be fair, Monica, I get it. Anytime he would be like, oh, I'm hanging out with the guys, that would include me. And like anytime he and I were like wanted to hang out, or I wanted to hang out with him, he would like immediately drop what he was doing with her and coming out with me. And when this was happening, I didn't see a problem with it because I wanted him to hang out with me. I knew Monica did not like me and I didn't like her, but it was all confirmed when I heard her talking shit about me while I was in his room. This is gonna sound super fucking weird, but I would always like take a nap in his closet, because he would come into my house or I would go to his house, and like we would sleep over at each other's houses. But as we got older and like hit puberty, we wouldn't sleep in the same bed because, you know, that was just weird. And I liked like the comfort of his closet. Like I said, I know it sounds weird, but I was in there and the door was closed, and Monica and her friend, who were hanging out with my best guy friend's sister at his house, they were in his room like trying to break into his stuff, like to his messages. Heard them say stuff like, I know he's into her, I know he likes her, and the other one was saying like, no, I think they're just friends, like they're the same friend group, da da da. And she's like, no, I just need proof, blah 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 blah. So like they were trying to like, I guess, see his messages from his computer. I knew as soon as I told him about all this, he was like gonna end things with her and drop her, but she had no idea that I was in there. They were saying a lot of not so nice things about me. And like at first I was just waiting because I wanted to see like everything that they were going to say about me, because who was going to miss an opportunity to like hear shit people are going to say about you when they don't think you're around. If you want to find out what having sex in the name of the book, check the caption. Bye.
Yo, my besties, you know what time it is. Grab your popcorn, guys. Must I even tell you, grab anything, grab people. I want you and your followers to advise me. I'm 18 years old and I'm in 200 level right now. So before I gain admission, I was dating a guy. He was an engineer who is very caring and loving. Like, he loved me so much that he could send me his last card because he disvirgin me. And he always called me his wife in front of his friends, always bragging that he has to marry me in his say. But he's not that rich, oh. So after I gained admission, we called each other every time on video call. But to cut the long story short, my roommate gave my number to a guy, which I don't know when she gave the number out. The guy is always messaging me, texting me, calling me. Foolish me. I was overwhelmed, but I told him I have a boyfriend, but he kept disturbing me only. Then my roommate started advising me to leave my boyfriend, that he has trust issue and stuff, which is true. She said this guy loved me so much, and the guy hostel is at the back of my hostel. Now every day they always call my hostel. I shall later say yes to him, but note, I did not break up with that one at my hometown, the one that is virgin. I did not break up with him, but as times goes on, I later break up with him. I started giving him sort of excuses because I fell in love with the other guy. But this new guy is also damn broke. Why you not go broke? You are 18 years old. The guy too is in 200 level. You want to make it still? Why you not go broke? Not be students with a date. He's also damn broke. I don't understand. But I also leave impression on him that he disvirgin me too. Oh, so you told the new guy that is the one that disvirgin you too? Interesting. So after 3 months, I was in need of money because I spent my school fees. So I came across my ex on my FYP. This guy don't get money so quickly. I unblock him and beg him. We get along and I asked for 100k. He gave me I was so surprised. Now I'm dating 2 guys whom their mothers and their family knows me, and I don't even know who love me more like this. Now I'm confused, and the one in school, oh my god, he like knack, like he like sex. I can't even count it. And the one in my hometown, that first boyfriend with this virgin, that engineer, we don't really knack like that. We used to knack maybe 2 to 3 times during holiday, And my mom only knows that I'm dating someone, Sha, but she does not know they are two. Now, I don't know what to do. I will be in the comment section. Please, guys, don't judge me. Listen! Judge.
Biologically, I think men are supposed to be gay. I truly believe that the natural order of men is supposed to be gay. I genuinely think that schmex with men, if you're a heterosexual woman, is only supposed to be done to procreate, because women don't get any pleasure by sleeping with men. And men's pleasure spot is in their anus. I genuinely feel that same-sex marriage is demonized because it can't fund capitalism. Because two people that are the same gender can't procreate, so there would be less children, and so then there would be less slaves, and then capitalism would cease to exist. Which is why in the media they're always showing heterosexual schmex. They're doing it to train your subconscious to think that that's what we're actually supposed to be doing. Because if we're being honest, there really is no detriment to two people of the same gender sleeping with each other or marrying each other. Who is that hurting? Think of all the people that's hurting on a visceral level. It's not hurting anyone on a visceral level. It's hurting capitalists. And then some people will say, well, can't gay people do IVF, or can't they adopt? They can, which brings me to my next point. If you have children that are in the system, and then you just normalize the fact, like you really normalize the fact that it's cool to be gay and people live in their truth, the whole system of children being exploited through them getting abandoned and going to the system, that also is something that the people in power benefit from. People in power benefit from the fact that children get abandoned and they are then vulnerable and then sent to the system. That means that there is now another sector that would be harmed, that would be hurt, so that way these people in power cannot make any more money. I mean, let's be for real. The term gay doesn't mean happy for no reason. And it's so funny because they give the term gay to men. They give the term gay to men. It's men who are supposed to be happy dealing with other men. Lesbian was just simply named after the Greek island Lesbos, because that's where all of the women who wanted to be with women went. Men are the ones who they're associated with a high amount of happiness dealing with other men, and their pleasure center is in their booty hole. And you got women out here like, my man can't be DL, my man can't be DL. Trust me, men have a large benefit of being DL. They're having more fun with a man in the bedroom than they're having with you. Okay, especially if he's a bottom. He's having a lot more fun in the bedroom than with you. I personally do not believe that the natural order is for people to be heterosexual, at least women. I think for women, we're supposed to be probably asexual. I genuinely believe that women naturally are asexual. If we didn't have all this programming, if we didn't have all this love song music, if we didn't have all of these things going on, we would only be sleeping with men when we wanted to procreate. We wouldn't be sleeping with them because, I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense for two people to get together that have completely different set of hormones. Men want to fuck all the time. They want to fuck all the time and then get mad at the fact that women won't meet their needs. That's not natural. Natural things don't happen by force. Natural things don't happen by force. You want to know who's going to be up to speed sleeping with a man? That's right, another fucking man. Another fucking man that shares the same hormones with him, that has the same high amount of lust as him. The Romans had it the fuck right. The Romans had it the fuck right, but guess what? You can't make any money off of that. You can't capitalize off of people having sharing their commonalities and having the same gender being. Oh, because guess what, you want to know another thing? Oh, how are the divorce lawyers, and how are marriage license, and how is couples therapy, how are all those things going to be able to get capitalized on when you actually have people operating in the natural order and being with people that they actually want to be with? They say that marriages between two men are like deemed to be the happiest, and I believe that they have the lowest divorce rate out of any other coupling. So yeah, how are you gonna have these divorce lawyers raking in money? How are you going to have these therapy and counseling services raking in money when you got people in a predicament where they're following the natural order of things, and so these things, we don't have to worry about these things? I don't know, something to think about. I might be crazy.
My 27 female boyfriend, 29 male, of 7 years cheated on me. I'm going to disappear from his life. Is there anything I'm missing? I, 27 female, just found out my boyfriend, 29 male, of 7 years cheated on me. My boyfriend went to our home state to see his family for the weekend. He's been going quite often this year, about once a month, saying it's because his grandparents are old and miss him. I thought nothing of it until this morning. I got a screenshot from a mutual friend of ours of my boyfriend's location on Snapchat. He was at his parents' house, but a girl's Bitmoji was there as well. It wasn't his sister or mom, and his parents, who weirdly also have a Snapchat, weren't home either. He didn't tell me he was going to be with anyone else today. I tried to call him, but he didn't pick up. I looked on Snapchat and his location was turned off. The mutual friend says my boyfriend has told everyone at home that we had broken up like 4 months ago. He said my boyfriend was making him stay quiet about it because he was trying to find the right time to tell me. As far as his parents know, he's moving home once our lease is up. The reason our mutual friend told me was because he walked in on my boyfriend and the girl hooking up with each other this morning. I texted an old friend who lives in my hometown, and she immediately asked why my boyfriend was on Tinder. We caught up, and she sent me proof of his photos on Tinder and his bio. It hurt to see that photos I took of him were used. He had even covered my face in a photo that we took together and said, "This could be you." I had no idea his family thought that we were broken up and that he was looking for other people to date. We even went to Italy a month ago celebrating our 7-year anniversary. I'm so confused, and I don't know what to do. My 27 female boyfriend, 29 male, of 7 years cheated on me. I'm going to disappear from his life. Is there anything I'm missing? I look around and everything in our apartment just seems like a lie. The soon-to-be ex texted me just now, and he's on his flight back. He'll be back in about 5 hours. Obviously, he can find his own way to the apartment from the airport. I'm shocked and numb, but my best friend is with me helping me pack all of my clothes. I'm leaving, and I'm not leaving a trace of myself behind. Our dog is coming with me, and I'll be staying at my best friend's place for now. My soon-to-be ex and I already have separate bank accounts, and our joint bank account does not have much in it right now. I make more than he does, so he can keep it. I can't go to the leasing office because it's closed on Sundays. But I sent an email asking for early termination on the lease. We're registered as domestic partners, so I've completed the termination form and will drive it up to the LA County office tomorrow. He's on my health insurance, and I've sent the email to HR to kick him off ASAP. We have several large photo albums together, and I'm not sure what to do with those. Keeping them would be too difficult, but I don't want him to have the satisfaction of having our photos. It's clear he uses our memories in a horrible way. Is there anything I'm missing? I can't seem to think of anything, and all of my thoughts seem so jumbled. Nothing makes sense, but I know that I can't stay. Any help to ghost a person this close to my heart would be appreciated.
How would you feel finding out that your closest friend did black magic on you? Story time. It all started when, let's call her N, met this guy, let's call him W. W wasn't rich, but he was kind, and he made people feel comfortable around him. He treated N with respect. After everything she had gone through in her past relationship, she finally felt seen. Around that same time, she grew closer to another girl, let's call her L. Now they were not childhood friends, they just happened to meet each other and just click. They cooked together, talked about men, and shared everything, secrets, dirty ones. Elle knew everything about N's relationship, from how they met to how he proposed. And she even helped Anne pick her engagement dress. Everyone thought their relationship was beautiful. Deep down, Elle carried something else: jealousy. Now, Anne didn't notice, and Elle started saying subtle things like, "Oh, your lucky W even chose you." And are you sure he really loves you? Now, Anne laughed at Elle's jokes, thinking she meant no harm. But what she didn't know was that Elle was not joking. Then, not long after Anne and W set a date for their wedding, strange things began to happen. W started falling sick. He would complain of constant headache and tiredness. He would always say he had a nightmare seeing a woman in a long white dress pinning him to the bed. Now, doctors said it was stress, but then it got worse, and not long after, Anne too started losing weight. They always lose weight. She barely slept, and anytime she sleeps, she feels like she has dreams, nightmares of some creatures calling her to a river. And when she wakes up, she is drenched in sweat. Anne confided in her mom that this is what I am going through. The mom never liked Elle, so the mom was already suspecting Elle had a hand in this, but she didn't voice it out loud. So Anne's mom took her to a powerful man of God to pray for her. During the prayers, the pastor stopped and told her that someone close to you took a picture of you and something you own to a river to do black magic because that person is jealous of you and wants what you have. The person that asked for her picture recently was Elle because she said she wanted to do a nice frame for her before the wedding day. Man of God told her, when you go to your friend's house, check under her bed, you will see something in a bottle. Go outside, pour the content on the floor because she has tied you and your man to have constant problems. So she went to Elle's house and she found what the man of God told her she would find, and she did as she was directed when Elle wanted to use the bathroom. After she was done, she confronted Elle, and Elle did not deny it, neither was she remorseful. Friends, fear friends. So Anne left, and since then she promised herself never to be friends with anyone again. Be a loner.
I want to share something with you that years ago I would have been too embarrassed, too ashamed to even say out loud, much less say it publicly. But it is such an important topic and we need to be talking about this. But I'm going to start this off by saying that I am a childhood sexual abuse survivor. I was 10 and 11 years old when my biological father was abusing me. So I'm putting a trigger warning here. If you're sensitive to CSA, please go ahead and scroll to the next video. Now, y'all, please bear with me because this is still a very sensitive topic to me, and this is the first time I've ever said it out loud. But after reading a good bit of research, it really gives me so much relief that I'm not crazy. I'm not normal. I know I'm not normal, but I'm normal. But these thoughts, and let's talk about sexual abuse fantasies. I thought I was the only person that ever experienced this, and I would have never brought it up to anybody else because I didn't want anybody to see me as crazy. But a couple other viewers in my comments said that they had experienced this as well, and we need to talk about this. Now, I have experienced those sexual fantasies before regarding sexual abuse, but I don't remember any about my father. I don't know if I had those in my childhood. I may have, but a lot of my memories of my childhood are just gone. They're blank. But the only reason I feel like maybe I didn't was because I know how traumatized I was to touch on myself because my dad had caught me and watched me when I did find myself and would mock me, mimic and mock me for finding myself. And So even when I went into foster care, I know I stopped doing that. I didn't feel comfortable touching myself anymore. So that's the only reason I think maybe I didn't have those fantasies, but I did have those fantasies later as an adult, because I want to share some statistics here first, because I'm not sure if people know that a woman that faces sexual abuse as a child is 2 times more likely to become a victim again later in their adult life compared to those women who did not face sexual abuse in their childhood. Then that risk increases even more when that child faces more extreme abuse, such as penetration, or there are multiple perpetrators, which were both in my case. My dad and my uncle were sexually abusing me as a little kid, and I mean there was the penetration involved, so they are even more likely, as well as the age of your first victimization. And I was 10 years old, so I was one of those that was most likely to get older and become victimized again. And I was a statistic. But I did experience the sexual abuse fantasies after it happened to me in my adult life, which that experience was like a lot more horrific than my dad, because my dad was kind of gentle with it. He didn't like beat me while he was doing it. So it was a much more like traumatizing experience than my childhood was. But I did have those fantasies about it. Like I would get aroused by it. And I would hate when that would happen, because I would sit there and tell myself, like, you remember like how bad that was, how much pain you were in, like that was probably one of the worst nights of your entire life. Like, how could you have these thoughts? So I did some research on this, because there are multiple other survivors that I read that had these same experiences, these same kind of fantasies, and I think this is so important to understand. Trauma is often stored in the body and emotions rather than as a clear story. Fantasizing about the abuse can be a subconscious way of processing unresolved feelings. The mind may replay or reconstruct events to work through fear, guilt, shame, or anger safely in imagination. This can be seen as an attempt to regain control over an experience that was out of your control, even if the fantasy itself is uncomfortable. Many survivors unconsciously use fantasy as a way to reclaim power or control over a situation that was previously abusive. For example, imagining scenarios differently or in a way where the survivor is empowered can provide a sense of mastery over helplessness. In some cases, the fantasies also may involve confusion between sexual curiosity, trauma triggers, or learned associations between sexuality and abuse. This is extremely common and not a reflection of consent or desire. Digman and Freud described repetition compulsion, a tendency to replay past traumatic events in thoughts or dreams as if the mind is trying to master or understand them. Survivors may repeatedly imagine abuse scenarios because their mind is attempting to predict, prevent, or integrate the trauma, even subconsciously. Fantasizing may bring up uncomfortable but familiar sensations, allowing the survivor to confront them in a mental space where they feel relatively safe. This process can sometimes be distressing, but it's a part of how trauma imprints itself on emotional and sexual identity. Fantasizing about abuse is not a sign of consent, desire, or guilt. It is a natural, though painful, way the brain processes trauma. This right here is why I am so passionate about sharing my story, because imagine all these young survivors who they don't know the questions to ask. They don't know how to find these things. They don't know that they are 2 times more likely than the average little girl to grow up and become a victim again of sexual abuse, or even just intimate partner violence, because they experienced that sexual abuse as a child. Do you know what this could have done for me as a 12, 13, 14-year-old girl? Because not every child gets the therapy after they're taken out of their home and their abuser goes to prison. We all don't get that therapy, and that's why, I mean, especially here on things like social media where so many young girls are swiping, that I think it's so important that somebody is out here talking about it, like telling these girls, boys too, don't be ashamed that you have these thoughts, these feelings, that it is okay, because there's nothing that you could think of no matter how off it feels, there's nothing that you could come up with or imagine that is any kind of sign of consent or that you asked for it. Because I can't tell you how much I wish I would have had that grown up me back when I was still a young survivor. And even when I was a survivor again in my 20s, telling me these things are like okay. But anyways, I didn't know if you guys knew that, and I wanted to address those other survivors that have had these thoughts. It is okay that you have these fantasies. It is normal for your brain to process trauma that way.
With Christmas just being 7 weekends away, this feels like a good story to share. I have a pet peeve about group gifts, group holiday gifts. And this is a story about something that happened and how we didn't have enough gas money to get home because of it. Here we go. So I'm a newlywed and I'm at my in-laws' house. It's Thanksgiving and my in-laws very graciously are like, hey, none of you get us anything for Christmas. We absolutely don't need anything. We don't want anything. We know some of you are just starting out, which all of us were. And so just please don't. We don't need anything. Later that evening, sister-in-law's like, okay, so what we're doing is we're all contributing several $100s and we're going to get them a really awesome grill. They had a grill and I was like, yeah, we're good. I just spoke for myself and my spouse and was like, that's not something we're able to do. And she's like, with everything they do for us, they gave us a huge down payment for our home. I feel like we could just give them a little bit back. And I'm like, we didn't get a down payment for our home. And we don't have this to give. And she's like, oh, well, I'm sure like we'll figure something out. I'm like, I'm sure we won't. Anyhow, super annoying when people try to spend other people's money because they want to get somebody a giant gift. So Christmas Eve comes, we leave. Christmas Eve comes along. We've never given them money for this group gift. They go ahead and get it anyway. And at Christmas Eve, she was like, so we're going to need your guys' money. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, we went ahead and got it. And I was like, yeah, but I said that we weren't contributing. And she's like, well, we went ahead and got it. And we feel really important that they deserve nice things. And I'm like, they already have nice things. I was like, they said they didn't want anything. My husband at the time, he's no longer my husband. He felt so obligated that he went to an ATM on Christmas Eve. He took out the little bit of money that we had, left us with like no money to get home. So we didn't even have like gas money to get home. I had to ask somebody else like for a loan to get home. I'm like, I'm really sorry, but like, can you give us some cash? How embarrassing is that somebody just assumes what your bank account looks like? And so they're like, hey, I'm really going to need you to contribute to this group gift that I planned for the holidays for these people that said that they didn't want anything because I felt obligated because they gave you a down payment. They didn't give us anything. And this woman had also just had a baby. She had a husband that was a lawyer. A different situation. I have a fine arts degree and my husband had an English degree. Totally different situation. Okay? Not everybody has the same bank account. People don't realize that, especially people with big bank accounts sometimes. So the next day is Christmas. We have emptied out our account for these people and she had a 6-month-old. And so it was the first grandchild. So everything was about this baby. And that's totally fine. I understand this. I am looking forward to having grandkids one day. Totally get it. But every single thing. And the 6-month-old just had this ginormous stack of gifts. And he didn't know what was going on. And everybody was very excited. And they're distributing gifts and stuff. And they're distributing gifts to like the other grown kids and so on and so forth. And my mother-in-law was just like, honed in on this baby. That's fine. I get it. But it was my first Christmas with them. And the night before, our husband had emptied out our account for them. And so everybody's doing all their gift thing. And we're just sitting there. Nobody has distributed anything to us yet. And then the father-in-law's like, why haven't you guys opened anything? And my husband's like sheepishly said, like, we haven't got anything. And then my mother-in-law and father-in-law are like, you were supposed to get them gifts. And he's like, no, you were supposed to get them gifts. No, you were supposed to get them. Like they're whispering, but right in front of us so we can hear everything they're saying. They didn't get us anything. on our first married Christmas, okay? But the night before, we had emptied out our account for them and didn't have gas money to get home because the fucking sister-in-law was just like, it's so important with everything they do for us. I was like, yeah, they're not doing for us like they're doing for you, apparently. So I'm just like, I'm just staring. I'm just lit. If I could have lit her on fire in that moment, oh my goodness, I was so angry. I didn't need anything. I didn't need anything. It was just it was embarrassing because then everybody was staring at us like, oh my gosh, they forgot. And so then it was like, hey, like she wanted her husband, our father-in-law, to like run home and like figure something out. And so he gave us like, I'm like, we don't need anything. Like, this is weird. Like, we need you to stop talking about it because you're just making it weirder and like more embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. So with all that being said, I hate group gifts. I think people that organize group holiday gifts are a burden on people. I think they can't understand what other people's bank accounts look like. And so I just refuse to participate in them, just on principle. Like, just don't. Like, I can't fathom going to other people and being like, so I'm just gonna need you to contribute like $200 or $300. Like, what the hell? No, like, stop asking. If you want to do something great for somebody and you have the means to do it, do it. Just get something in your means. Don't go spending other people so you can have this giant gift and be awesome and feel good about yourself. Like, no, like, you may just be creating a situation where they have to embarrassingly ask somebody for money to get home because your husband decided he needed to empty your bank account to like, because everything was just so awkward. And then you don't even end up getting any gifts from the people in return. It's so, ugh. I think it's important to add, I said I was a newlywed, and these folks contributed nothing to our wedding. So there were the people that are like, yeah, but I bet you they gave you a ton of money for no, they contributed nothing for our wedding. As a matter of fact, they kind of tried to ruin the wedding because they were mad that it wasn't in their church. That's a whole other story. So yeah, there was no financial obligation to them at all.
Join the live and comment LeBron James.
Get ready with me to go roller skating, but we're going trad goth again, and I forgot my inspo. A lot of people ask me how to start off being goth, so I would like to use this video as a tutorial. Alright, first, starting off, let's talk about the most important part, the politics and the music. No, goth is not just a fun style for you to dress up on Halloween. If you do want to dress up goth, don't go, without the music and politics, don't go around saying you're goth. You can say that you dress gothic or that you just like the style, which is perfectly fine. The reason we do not like posers, as we call them, people who say they're goth but don't follow the politics and music, is because it's disrespectful to the culture to not respect the culture's values and then say you're a part of that culture. If you tell me that you're goth, I'm going to start talking music about you, and if you don't listen to music, you're going to be pretty confused. Alright, so starting off with the music, this is like one of the most popular parts about being goth. If you want to start off listening to goth music, some of my favorite music artists are Susie and the Banshees, definitely Bauhaus. Bauhaus? I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not good at pronouncing things. Depeche Mode. The Cure is a little more emo, but it's still pretty good. Cheap Perfume leans punk, but it's heavily political, and I love them so much. Christian Death, Alien Sex Gang. These are like just some of the few like basics. There's a lot more bands, and there's a lot of smaller bands. Really, you have to find what type you like. See, personally, for me, I prefer the kind with a lot of lyrics because, yes, while I like listening to a 10-minute song Bela Lugosi's Dead, I prefer to sing along, and there's a lot of instrumental. Now let's get into the politics. You can't be MAGA and goth. That's an oxymoron. Oxymoron, same thing. Goth politics are leftist ideals, and basically being a leftist is, I'm not 100% sure since I'm just learning about being a leftist, but I'm pretty sure it's you know, like, liberal but further left, since liberal is still within right-wing ideology. It's a whole thing, but, basically, I know a huge part of it is anti-capitalism, which, in my opinion, I'm not exactly a socialist. I believe there should be a new system because, in my opinion, after a while, every single system goes wrong. So in my opinion, we need to constantly replace it with a new system. And there's a lot of different kinds of what you're going to believe in. Like, you could be a socialist, you could be an anarchist, you could be a communist. Well, I mean, some communism is bad, some communism is good. It really depends. Another thing is anti-establishment, anti-incorporation, anti-system. Really, you can't go with the flow of the public. The whole point of being goth is to stand out. And yes, the clothing and makeup you wear is political. Going out with a bold face of white, inspired by dragon Victorian makeup, is a huge political thing in itself. Which I know sounds crazy, but almost everything is political. The food you're eating, that's political because of the prices. And the way you got it. All sorts of stuff is political, and it's crazy. If you do want more insights on politics or you have any questions to ask me, now's the time where you should join my Discord server. The link is in my bio, or if it's not working, which it doesn't want to work for most people, you can just type in discord.gg/Jonica. And I'll answer any questions you have, and we can even have a political discussion if you like. Because yes, we don't limit on politics. We have a whole channel for political. And no, you don't have to be alternative to join. Next, let's talk about the fun part, the fashion and the makeup. Alright, so it's really a debate between how important the fashion and makeup is. In my eyes, it's pretty important to the culture considering, but if you don't have the resources, the time, or the money, it's optional. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, it's only based on the style, or it doesn't even matter about the style is just a part of it. In my opinion, it's a mix, because while yes, people aren't going to be able to identify you as goth if you don't, look goth, sometimes it's not about that, and you can join communities with the same culture. Like, there's an alternative network I'm a part of, it's invite only, so, you have to be known personally to get invited, but it's called Afterlife. It's like, think of like an alternative version of MySpace. There's no algorithm, no For You page, and you can post, whatever you want, but it's pretty moderated. So for example, you can't just be like sending a minor nudes on there, because that's not okay. But, there's still not many rules so you don't have to like conform and stuff. But I mean, obviously there's still like rules for you to like not like harass a minor. Alright, so I recently learned it's better to do your concealer after your contour and goth makeup, just so you can make sure everything is perfect. And I think after I do this, I'm going to try and apply my false lashes. I think I'm going to cut them this time because last time they were too big and falling off my eyes. But I think this way I don't have to mess anything up, and then I can always like wipe off before I set, so I don't like make messes. Anyway, so back to what I was saying about the fashion. Alright, so starting off with the fashion, a lot of people will say just black clothes, just black. You can do any color. I don't care. I have a good friend who's a pink goth. Her name's Emmy. She's what's called perky goth. Basically it's goth but pink. And there's cyber goth, there's Victorian goth, there's romantic goth, there's trad goth, which I am more. A lot of people get trad goth and modern trad goth mixed up. I'm leaning more towards trad goth with my outfits, but my makeup is more modern trad goth. Basically, trad goth is what traditional goths wore and look like. That's what I do my makeup like. And then people, what was I gonna say? Oh, and then people the most popular type, what people think is the only thing that's goth, is modern trad goth. There's so many types of goth. There's pastel goth, which pastel goth is different because it's not necessarily a part of the subculture, if that makes sense. Basically for pastel goth, you can be pastel goth without being goth. There's a big difference. I was pastel goth for a long time, but I was still goth, if that makes sense. See, the thing about pastel goth is a lot of people do use it as an actual goth subculture, but if you want to be pastel goth, that is like the one goth thing that you don't need to be a part of the subculture for. If that makes sense, it's a lot. I have no idea how I put that one on without a fuss. I feel so lucky that I put that on without a fuss. I put this one on first try, and I even got to curl it without it like freaking out. Let's make it look like it's a part of my lashes with mascara. Anyway, so for the fashion, lots and lots of layers, stuff like that. I'm running out of time. I will post a tutorial on it in a little bit because I gotta finish my makeup. But sorry, I just ran upstairs. Anyways, so let's talk about the makeup. white base. A white base, if you're doing modern trad goth makeup, is very, very important. Just so all the black and all the contour, the gray contour, the eyebrows, your makeup just stands out a lot better. The only thing is, it's going to make your teeth look yellow, which you should be fine with. You're gonna get stares either way. The funny thing is, people think, oh, it's scary to children. I have a lot of children coming up to me saying they like my makeup and saying they want to look like me one day. And I have adults being freaked out by me. Last time I went roller skating, I had a random adult approach me and start interrogating me about my makeup. She was rude and was like, why are you wearing that kind of makeup? And like just kept hounding me about my makeup. This is a true story, by the way. This genuinely happened. And it confuses me. My boyfriend's bracelet. So we have matching these bracelets. I'm gonna do oh, he finally connected. He was unconnected in the app. Big bold eyeliner. If you're doing goth makeup, you want big bold eyeliner. Also, let me set my face now. There's thousands of trad goth makeup tutorials and other things. Really right now I'm an almost 9-minute video. So I need to finish up my makeup. I will get back to you when my makeup's done and we can do an outro. Be sure to join the Discord and hit that follow button for more trad goths and just normal goth stuff and just people stuff. Also, reminder, if you want to join the Justronica army, you can change your username or put in your bio bat emoji, black cat emoji, and black heart emoji. Also, guys, let me know in the comments down below. I'm trying to think of a name to call you guys since I have such a huge community growing right now, and most people call their community something based on their name. What am I gonna call you? The Jonica-lings? You know? So I'm thinking either batlings or baby bats. Let me know what you guys prefer. Also, one of my biggest makeup tips is if you mess up your eyeliner, just make it bigger and it'll cover up any mistake. Alright, this is the final look. I only have 30 seconds left on the video, so be sure to hit the follow button. If you made it this far, which I don't think most of you will, be sure to comment 3 bat emojis, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye, loves!
You see this Ochanya case, It has taken me so much time to even bring myself to talking about it because the heaviness that I feel every time I open my mouth to talk about Ochanya and what she had to go through. And you see, if one of us women is not free, then none of us is free. Until all of us are free, we are not free. I want you to imagine the first time you were seeing the other gender's privates. And if you were a virgin, the first time you saw it was like, wow, that thing is... Now you can imagine that was a 13-year-old. At 13. 2 grown men. Grown women, myself included. We cannot bring ourselves to comfortably receive it from the back. And at 13, this girl was receiving it from the back and front from grown men. And they didn't do it once, they didn't do it twice. They did it for 5 years. From the time she was 8. And then in the same week, I see a man, same Nigeria, violating his 2- and 5-year-old. And that is why women need to protect their wombs, because such seed, those men should not be allowed to procreate with anybody because they keep on bringing their seed into this world, perpetuating the same cycle. Because weak seed gives birth to weak seed. Those things are supposed to die in their scrotums. They're not supposed to have children. I'm happy to note that the case has been reopened, and I hope she gets justice. And you see, this is the reason why religious people specifically, God, the concept of God works because it benefits you. But for the people that it does not benefit, like this girl, it is very easy for you as someone who's religious, as someone who believes in God, to say, God walks with me every day, and whenever I'm in problems, whenever I'm in trouble, God has showed up for me. And then there are such people, like, for the time they were 8, what was their mistake? And I'm so sure she prayed. I'm so sure she cried. I'm so sure she wanted better. You and I have watched the gruesome videos of things that came from South Sudan, or from Sudan. That mother and her children. And you can tell that those children have known hardship from the time they were born until their untimely death. And that is why it is very arrogant to try to explain the infinite and the mysterious. It is very easy for you to say, God will never forsake you. He will always fight for you. And there are people we know out here who have no one to fight for them. They have no supernatural that they can turn to for help. They have known hardship until the day they leave this world. Have empathy. Have compassion. Don't be too quick to say, oh, for you it is easy. When you lose your car keys, you have a supernatural that walks with you, that reminds you and shows you where your car keys are. There are certain people who want to live, and they die in the most gruesome ways. Ochanya, do you know what fistula is? Do you know what fistula is? You're passing pee, you're passing poop, just like that. The infections she had too. Infections at 13, at 10. And the pain that she had to endure before until she died. I hope justice is served. And I hope those who know how to do things spiritually, justice, let it be served physically and also spiritually. I hope the spiritual people of Nigeria, they don't have to say, they don't have to shout, they don't even have to let people know. Let them do what needs to be done. No cheer.